Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back in for another episode of Swiss Cheese Beats. My name is Daniel. This is episode 23. And today I'm going to be reviewing a stick that many of you have been asking for here on the channel, and that is the PROMARK System Blue Scott Johnson DC17 and DC17i snare drum stick. Again, welcome back everybody, and if you're new here, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate you taking the time to do so. Take a look around. I do a lot of things like marching product reviews, even some marching percussion approach lessons and things like that. Gonna dive into some other percussion stuff later on this year, but if you happen to like what you see, consider hitting that red subscribe button down below and joining the community. And for everybody, just recently over on my website, which is SwissCheeseBeats.com, I started a club called the SCB Drum Circle, where you can get exclusive content, tips, as well as get filled in on what's coming up with the show. So if that interests you, there is a link for you down below. You can head over to the website and join the SCB Drum Circle. And as always, this review, like every review on the show, is 100% non-sponsored. Meaning I don't receive any type of paycheck for this. I don't have a script of things I'm supposed to say. I simply experiment with the product, find things that I know are gonna interest you guys as an audience. So before getting into the stick, we gotta talk about the man behind the stick, and that is Mr. Scojo himself, Scott Johnson. Scott was a member of the Blue Devil snare line from 1976 to 79. He continued on as percussion instructional staff until 1989. After that, he spent about 3 or 4 years with the Santa Clara Vanguard as their director of percussion as well as percussion arranger until he returned to the Blue Devils in that same capacity in 1994.
Scott Johnson.
During Scott's time as a player and instructor, he has compiled quite the laundry list of accomplishments, but just to highlight a few, he has 2 WGI Gold Medal Championships, 14 DCI High Percussion Awards, and 17 DCI Gold Medal Championships. 17. In 2012, he was inducted into both the WGI and DCI Hall of Fame, and just recently in 2015, he was inducted into the World Drum Corps Hall of Fame. Scott is a very sought-after clinician and judge where he has been on panels across the globe, but to name a few, here nationally, he has judged the PASIC Marching Festival, he has judged WGI Championships, as well as Bands of America Grand Nationals. Scott Johnson. Jumping into the DC17, the stick comes in at 17 inches long, which is the average length of most marching snare drum sticks. The thickness is right at 0.700 of an inch, so it's a little bit thinner than some of the other marching sticks you may have played with, but it's not a negative thing by any means. In fact, it feels really good, really comfortable in your hands. It's made of white hickory, which as you guys know by now, it's a very strong wood, above average hardness, really shock resistant, which make it great for making drumsticks, and the weight is right at 3.42 ounces. In fact, once again, we have yet another pair of PROMARK sticks that are exactly matching to the 100th of an ounce.
Yeah, keep it 100.
The stick has a medium taper from the shoulder all the way to right underneath the bead. This is just the right amount of taper as well because the bead on this stick is a larger round shape. So with this amount of taper, it allows the bead to hold its true form in its entirety. And you can see here that the bead of the stick is a larger round shape as mentioned earlier. It's really nice, really wide, which I love because you get a lot of surface area here to strike the drum, get a nice big fat sound out of. And the butt end of the stick seamlessly morphs into this nice smooth rounded off butt end which I really think speaks well to the design as well as the craftsmanship of this stick. And I also think it's extremely fitting that the print is in blue, with Scott Johnson's name, signature, model number, as well as the System Blue logo. These sticks have a lot of weight to them, but you never really feel out of control or uncomfortable when holding the stick, partially because of the thickness of the stick. The other reason would be how the weight is distributed on the stick. It's very much middle to middle front heavy, so you always feel like you have total control over the stick, and in fact you always feel like you have a lot more power left in the arsenal. And additionally, because of that weight distribution, you have a lot of energy moving to the front of the stick as you approach into the drum, creating a lot of fast action, a lot of quick rebound. You know how much I believe in fundamentals and technique, and believe how much control we have over the sound we create with our instruments, but these sticks, with the combination of their weight as well as the shape of the bead, you just get a really solid impact sound on every dynamic range of the instrument, whether it's high or low, as well as feeling like you got a little bit extra for those bigger moments. Jumping into the durability of this stick, I completely expect these to last a really long time. They're built really well, they're really solid. In fact, you can hear just how high pitched these sticks are. So I wouldn't expect to have any issues as far as durability goes. Now, jumping into the lighter stick, which is the DC17i, there are quite a few similarities between this and the larger stick. It's still made of that strong hickory wood, it still has that nice smooth butt end, it still has that medium taper. Has a few differences though, first one starting with the length. This stick comes in right at 16 5/8 of an inch, has a thickness of 0.650, so is significantly thinner than the DC17, and it weighs in right at 2.64 ounces, which is almost an entire ounce lighter than the DC17. But again, you guessed it, this stick and the other one match to the 100th of an ounce. And you can see here the 17i has the same exact shape of bead as the 17. A little bit smaller, but it's really just a scaled down version of the bead, considering this stick is much thinner as well as lighter than the DC17. But you still have that nice surface area right in the middle of the bead to make a nice sound out of the drum. And of course, just like the DC17, the model number, Scott Johnson's signature, the System Blue logo, as well as the traditional PROMARK branding stripe right across the stick. For the weight distribution on this stick, I would very much consider this stick to be equally distributed, meaning whether I'm holding the stick or playing the stick, I never feel an excess in weight shift to either the back or the front of the stick. I feel like I have total control over the stick, and with that, the sticks are super quick. I mean, everything you play just has a little extra pep in its step, a little bit of extra go. You feel like you have another gear or maybe even two when it comes to your ability talking about speed. This stick would be great for either young musicians or even musicians with smaller hands, because you're still gonna get that fast velocity you expect from a marching drum. You're still gonna get a nice sound because of the combination of how the weight is distributed as well as the beat of the stick, so it's gonna perform really well. One little extra that really has nothing to do with the sticks, but more on the PROMARK side, which is a nice touch, are these little sleeves that the sticks come in. Now, I realize that these look like any other sleeves that you get pretty much with any other pair of sticks you buy. But what makes these pretty unique is they have the actual name of the stick, the stick length, the stick thickness, all printed on the sleeve. So it's, again, not necessarily a huge deal, but it's a nice packaging touch. Getting into the application of the sticks, I definitely think that the DC17s are really versatile. I think, again, going back to the size of the stick, the thickness that is, as well as the weight, you can use it for either indoor or outdoor ensembles, and you won't have any issues as far as getting as soft as you need to get or getting as loud as you need to get. For the 17Is, I would stick to that indoor application or even the young percussionist application. I think it lends itself really well to younger percussionists with smaller hands who are just learning how to rudimentally drum. You could consider it for a stick change or a timbre change in an outdoor ensemble. I just don't think you'll need to do it because I really believe that the DC17s are versatile enough for you to get as soft as you need to. Overall, I think these sticks are built really well. I think both Scott Johnson and PROMARK did a great job as far as design and manufacturing. I love the fact that there are two models, and the two models, while they have their similarities, are different enough to use in different applications. So to me, that's a huge bonus. So what do you think about these? A lot of you have been asking for them. Please give me your feedback or questions down below in the comments. I also left a couple of links for you guys to find these sticks to purchase in the description. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd be so kind to consider sharing this video using those options down here on your right. Don't forget to head over to my website, SwissCheeseBeats.com, and consider joining the SCB Drum Circle. And of course, if you have yet to do so, hit that red button and subscribe to the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you next time.
And guess what, baby?